What's going on, guys? So, as you guys know, every single week I take a second and I ask on my Instagram stories to have you guys pretty much ask me anything you want, right? I've been doing this. This is my fourth one, so this is week 4 of doing this, and I'll get probably anywhere between, I'd say, anywhere between 30 to 60 questions on any given week. And so, right now, we're going to film part 4 of this. And so, I asked, like I said yesterday, and here are pages that you guys have asked me. So I'm going to go through every single one of these and try to answer these to the best of my abilities. Feel free to comment below if you have any feedback or if you have any other questions. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. First one: do you see WWE shifting back to the Attitude Era at all? My answer to this is going to be not anytime soon. I think that there's definitely been talks about it. I think that they've kind of getting a little bit edgy. However, the product is still PG, and until they are okay with going from PG to PG-13, or even, I don't think they'll ever get to M for mature. But until they're at least able to do PG-13, I don't think we'll ever go back to the Attitude Era. Like I said, they've been pretty edgy at some things, allowing some cuss words here and there. But back to the Attitude Era where you got, you know, bra and panties matches. You got people like Sable and all that stuff walking around. I don't think we'll ever get like that again. But I think a PG-13 rating would get you all of the good from the Attitude Era and leave out the naughty from the Attitude Era. What is your take on Jade Cargill? Jade Cargill is one of my favorite female wrestlers right now. I would say I wouldn't say she wouldn't be like my one or two, but probably top 5 favorite wrestlers right now, as far as women go. Um, I like her a lot. I do think that she should work on. I'd say her speaking could be not better necessarily, but it just sounds very scripted. It sounds like almost like a superhero. You know what I mean? Like when she talks, it feels like she's reading from a script, or like it's not really her. And I think that Naomi did a good job of bringing some of that out, but I think that there needs to be a rivalry with someone that helps her go to that next level and show real emotion and not like choreographed emotion, if you know what I mean. And so after she gets that down, I think she'll be a star. After she's a star now, but I think that that'll take her to the next level. My goal is to reach $100 at the end of this month. Venmo. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's not really a question. How long have you been watching WWE? I've been watching for about 15 or so years myself. I've been watching WWE since the late 90s, I'd say. I started when I was, I don't know, 3 or 4, and just kind of been watching ever since. I think John Cena's retirement tour has been great so far. People are over hating. Your thoughts? I haven't liked it, if I'm honest with you. I think that it started really good, and I think that WrestleMania really screwed up the whole thing. I think that The Rock not showing up for WrestleMania and them not continuing the Sell Your Soul story really screwed up a lot. And I had a really high hopes. I had really high hopes for this rivalry and all the stuff that's going on, but The Rock not pulling his part really sucks. I think now it's kind of just like watching someone. I don't know. It's kind of like watching someone play a video game on easy. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's obviously going to lose. He has the title already. There's not really a story behind any of it outside of like him just fighting some of his favorite. I mean, I guess his best friends and stuff like that for us. Like, so I think it's cool, but overall, it's not my favorite story, and it's a story that I think should have been done different and a lot better. Should AJ win the IC title, and should Finn and Dom cost him the match at NOC? I think that's what this says. Should Finery Don? I'm not really sure. Um, I don't think AJ should win the IC title. Um, I don't know what the second half of this is trying to ask me, so I'm just gonna say no. I don't think that AJ should win the IC title. Do you think the Goldberg versus Gunther match is just set up for Seth Rollins to take the belt? I do. Honestly, I think that's why they had to get it off of Jay because it wouldn't have made sense to to let Seth beat Jay. I think that they needed to get the title from Jay to allow him to go up to the undisputed level, and I think that it'll be. I think that Goldberg will win. I think that they'll also take away this fight being a title match, and I think that Seth will cash in on Gunther after he loses. Who's your favorite current WWE wrestler who has never held a? So who's your favorite current WWE wrestler who has never held a singles title on the main roster? I mean, there's not many people that fits into that group. Trying to think that never held a singles title. Hmm. Man, they've never held a singles title. So obviously that takes out majority of people. So I mean, so it can't be my actual favorites. So I mean, even Jacob Fatu has held the title before. Dom has a title. Obviously, you got Cody, Roman, all those guys have held the title. Braun Breaker's held the title before. I would have to go with. Hmm, this is actually a really good one. So I would have to go with a female, and I would have to go with. I'd have to go with Jade Cargill. Simply because all the men have held titles before, and so I think about the next, like the people after who held the title. I'd have to go with some. I mean, it'd have to be a guy like I don't even know. Like, there's not even that many people that have not held the singles title to where I can't even like really think about any men that haven't. I mean, even LA Knight has held the title before, so um, or I mean, it'd have to go Jade Cargill or Jimmy Uso. I'd say one of those two. If I'm honest, but great question. Be on my podcast? Question mark. Or actually, wait. Who do you think should take John's title before he retires? I think it should be Logan Paul, but y'all are gonna hate me for that one. So that's just my that's just who I think should have it. Um, if not Logan Paul, I would say Roman Reigns. Be on my podcast. I don't know anything about your podcast, or I mean, that's a very you have to message me directly or on my Patreon. Who do you think will dethrone John Cena? I hope it's Logan Paul and or Roman Reigns. Either one of those two totally fine with me. I don't want it to be Cody, just because again I think The Rock screwed that story up, and so it would just kind of it would I feel like it'd be really stupid if he did. So I would say Roman to start a new story, or Logan Paul to also restart the WWE. Do you think Roman Reigns will return at NOC? I think that he will. I hope that he will because that would set up him going into SummerSlam. And so I really hope that he does. I don't know what he'll do. I think that he'll be involved with um, the Cody story a little bit, or he'll jump down and focus on um, Seth. But I can't really tell at this exact point. But I hope he does. If he doesn't, I hope The Rock does. I need one of those two to come back and do something. Honestly, let's see. Where was I? Favorite writing figure right now. I'm thinking it's supposed to say favorite wrestling figure right now. If you are a collector, if not, favorite wrestler right now. I would say Jeff Hardy or Roman Reigns. I'm not a collector, however, I would like to be a collector. I want to start. I definitely want to dabble into that and get into that. Um, and so I would say my favorite wrestling figure would have to be either Roman Reigns or Jeff Hardy or Sting or Undertaker um, or Cody Rhodes because those are my top five wrestlers. Well, those are five of my top six. My fifth would be Shawn Michaels. I like to see the Shawn Michaels one as well. So I'd say any of those six. My favorite wrestler right now is Roman Reigns, but because he's kind of in and out, I would say I'd have to go with Cody. Who's your all-time favorite wrestler? Actually, give us a top five. So I actually just did that. My top five in order though is Jeff Hardy, Sting, Undertaker, Roman Reigns, and then Shawn Michaels. Who is your favorite wrestler? And I'm new, by the way. Well, Christian Matos 013. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Who's your favorite wrestler? Jeff Hardy is my favorite wrestler of all time, and Roman Reigns is my favorite wrestler that's currently active. If you could be a wrestler for one day, who would it be, and who would you face in their prime? If I could actually be a wrestler for one day, um, I would be. Hmm. If I could be the wrestler, I would probably be. Hmm. I would either be the Undertaker or Sting, and I would face the Undertaker or Sting. I don't know which one I would be, because I don't know who would win. Honestly, I don't know who would be the face, who would be the heel. I don't know. They don't even need the title. Like they're just great. Like that's a main event in itself. Um, but I guess I would have to say I'd have to go with Sting, and it would have to be versus the Undertaker at WrestleMania main event for the title, like and before the Undertaker's um, streak was up. That would be my dream match. Who do you think it's easier to make in stories, heel or face? It's always easier to make a heel because all you have to do is something bad, and the crowd immediately boos. To be a heel, you kind of have to build up this respect. You have to build up this loyalty. You have to build up this likeness, and it takes time to do that. You can't. It's really hard to just walk into a room and be liked by everybody. It's really easy to be hated by everybody. So I would say it's easier to be a heel as far as in a story. Who's your best current WWE male superstar? Roman Reigns. 2020 Royal Rumble entrance 21. What did that mean to you? Nothing because I don't know who that was or what that was. Sorry. What do you think about Goldberg's return? I think that Goldberg's return is cool because he's retiring, and so he meant a lot to the wrestling fandom and the wrestling world. So I like it. I like that he's coming back and just getting it all done. However, I wish that they would have done a better story with him. I wish that they would have just taken a little bit more time to build up the story. I mean, at minimum, they could have just at least just showed what happened 8 months ago between Gunther and Goldberg, but they should have done better with the story behind it, in my opinion. But I like it. Three wrestlers that deserve a world title run and why. Logan Paul, because I think he's probably the best heel in the whole company right now. Um, I mean, the audience he brings to the WWE, the athleticism, like he's just really good. So I would say for sure Logan Paul. I would say Damian Priest. I would love to see Damian Priest get another title run. Um, just because I actually like Damian Priest as champion. I feel like Damian Priest will go out there and do whatever's needed. I know people don't like him that much, but I think that he's great at promos. He's great at talking, great at segments. He can hold his own in the ring. He's a bigger guy, so that's always another reason to be the world heavyweight champion. I would love to see Damian Priest versus Gunther. Um, so I would say Damian Priest is number two, and then number three, I would have to go with probably Seth Rollins. I think that Seth Rollins needs the world title. I think that he is on the TV so much that it kind of just makes sense to have him as a champion at this point. Like he's been really chasing for so long at this point. And so I would say Seth because he gives a lot to the WWE. I think that he could do a lot with the world title. So those would be my three. Damian Priest, Seth Rollins, and Logan Paul. Your least favorite wrestler of all time. Mine is Alberto Del Rio, Ryback, and Goldberg, to name a few. My least favorite, I would say, I really don't like Sheamus. I really don't like LA Knight. Um, it's really hard to say all time because I like a lot of those guys that I hated. I like kind of took off, like just kind of deleted them from my brain. But right now, I'd say Sheamus, Rusev, LA Knight, um, Tozawa, uh, pretty much all the guys that aren't on TV that much. I don't really like any. I don't like AJ Styles. Um, yeah, so I gave you more than one. Do you recall when and how the flip of switch that made you go fully invested in the details of WWE? Yes. So I've always liked WWE. I've always been interested in it, but watching crazy sounds like watching LFG this year really like gave me a different perspective. Like a lot of stuff I kind of knew to an extent, but like watching LFG and listening to Bubba Ray go through the psychology and everything behind it really kind of just opened my brain up way more. And then I just wanted to talk about it. And so I just turned on my camera one day and I started talking about it. um, Again, I've like always watched WWE. I've always been a fan of WWE, but like I didn't know as much about it. And then I watched LFG, like I said before, earlier this year, and it just, I guess, it just intrigued me at a different level. I also watched Heels, that show on Netflix, and I watched those two. Okay, so I watched Heels, I watched LFG, and I watched Vince McMahon's documentary on Netflix, all within the last like 4 months or so. And once I watched all of those, I was like, okay, I want to talk about this. And then ever since, I've kind of just been creating content about it. So, great question. I love questions like that. Let's see. Who is your favorite WWE superstar? Currently is Roman Reigns. Of all time is Jeff Hardy. Of all WrestleMania PLEs, which one is your favorite, and what was your favorite moment? My favorite one is, I think it's WrestleMania 13 or WrestleMania 12. It's the one where Stone Cold, uh, Shawn Michaels, and Mike Tyson. Like I've watched that one just so many times that that's just my favorite. It's the one that pops up in my brain the most. Is the one that pops in my brain first. So I would say that's probably my favorite one. Thoughts on Sheamus? Sheamus is one of my least favorite wrestlers of all time. Not gonna say of all time, but he's my least favorite. One of my least favorite right now. I don't get the hype. I mean, he's a cool dude, like just as a person, but I don't necessarily like his character at all. What's your top five wrestlers? Just WWE. Top five only WWE. I don't know if Sting counts, but if I took Sting out, it would still be Jeff, um, Undertaker, Roman Reigns, Shawn Michaels, and Cody. With Sting in it, it would be Jeff, Sting, Undertaker, Roman Reigns, and Shawn Michaels. Let's see. Would you mind sharing your testimony as a Christian? Also, have you seen HBK's testimony video? Um, that's a great question. I like that one. um, I wouldn't mind it. However, it wouldn't be a good for this video. It'd have to be definitely a separate video. And I may save that for Patreon. I'm not necessarily sure, but I wouldn't do that for this video because that's a meaty conversation. And yeah, so would like to do that soon. I just don't know. Haven't really thought about like the ins and outs of doing that. Um, but again, I wouldn't do it on a video like this. That would be definitely something for its own video or for Patreon for people like yourself, because I know you're in the Hall of Famer um, tier. This is, I don't want to butcher your name. I don't know if it's Elias Bailey 04 or is it Elias? I think it's Elias. But I don't know. Elias Bailey 04. That's a great question. That's definitely something I do want to do again, but not for this video. But definitely something I would probably do for the the Hall of Famer tier in my Patreon. So if you're not in the Patreon, go join that. Links in bio. Also, have you seen HBK's testimony video? I think I have. I watched his documentary thing that he has on YouTube, where like he met his wife and like all this stuff happens and she kind of brings him over to the Lord or whatever. So I think I have. I don't think but I I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I have. Who's your favorite wrestler? Again, Roman Reigns, and for current, and then Jeff Hardy all time. And so I think that's it. I think we've gone through all the questions. And so I appreciate you guys for asking. I appreciate you guys for sending these in. Again, I like to do these once a week, and so I will do this again next week as well. Um, and so hopefully by then we have some interesting stuff happen with WWE that aren't really going on right now. The most interesting thing right now is really just Goldberg versus Gunther. Crazy as that sounds. So yeah, well, I'll catch you guys on the next one. And if you haven't signed up for Patreon, go ahead and do that in the link below. Peace.